Well, I guess that's the update for this week, but I'll tell you this, I'm not coming back until we have a proper update.
So Craig, what are your thoughts? I mean, you like the way it's coming out? Are you happy?
I mean, it's unbelievable. The amount of work you guys have put into this thing, the expertise that you guys have used, unbelievable. It's just a dream come true.
Is that the color?
It's the color. I mean, we looked at it outside in the light, and you know, even 20 years on, there's things that just immediately popped me in the sun, like the way the sun comes off the mirror and this rolling edge here of the fender.
Right.
What freaks you out, like I had the bumper repaired when one of the Gretty guys who borrowed my car scraped it, and so they repainted it and then they did a fade. And I'm looking at it and I'm freaking out. I was like, is that same color? But it's the shadows that screw with you. You know?
Well, what happened after it came out of the paint booth? Did you get a call from me? Remember what I said? This freaking color is kicking my ass.
Yeah.
Because I can't tell, in the spray booth it looks copper, under fluorescent lighting it looks tangerine, and in the sunlight it looks dead on.
That story is coming up right after the break. Did you know that the average driver gets 9 traffic tickets in their lifetime? Look, I'll be the first to admit that I've taken maybe a couple of liberties with traffic laws back in the day. And of course, when I got caught, I had to go to court to fight the ticket, which was always a hassle. And each time that I lost my case, it meant big fines, points on my record, and higher insurance premiums. Eventually, I realized that nothing beats having a good attorney argue your case in court. So here's what you do. You download the Off the Record app to your phone and register for an account. And if you get a ticket, simply upload a photo of your ticket into the app and you will be quickly matched with a lawyer in your jurisdiction. Your lawyer will start working your case right away, and in most cases, you'll never have to set foot in a courtroom. Off the Record has a 97% success rate and a 4.9 star rating on Google. And guess what? They even offer a money-back guarantee if they aren't able to reduce the points or keep that ticket fully off your record. Best of all, I've arranged a 10% discount for all of my YouTube viewers, so download the app and register using the referral code FASTLIFE to receive 10% off your first case.
There's a few shots, magazine shots, using your car when it was in the movie condition, when it had the black graphics on the bottom and it had, you know, the chrome headlights. That is probably the best color variant, and it's in our book, that shows the pearlescent, because it's Paul sitting on the hood and you could really see the pearlescent of the fender.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time, looking at the car, because I used to sit at car shows, you know, hot imports nights. You're there for 15 hours for a day for a car show.
Yeah.
And then you go out to car shows that import show up. You're standing next to your car literally for, you know, 10, 12, 15 hours. So you know every little square because you've cleaned it and waxed it 1,000 times. It's just so much better than what my car was, because we're fixing all the stuff that I really hated about the car. The wheels, for example, they were probably this lip on this front wheel was probably an inch smaller.
Right.
But you have to remember, when we were doing the movie, we couldn't take the time to get all these wheels exactly the offset that we wanted. Right. We had to take what they had on the shelf because we needed like 12 sets of every wheel, or whatever, 6 sets.
I am blown away by what an amazing job the crew did.
Unbelievable.
Joe killed it on this paint work, and I'm so
You have to
stoked.
remember, my paint guys had the car for 4 weeks and everything was already on it. So all they did is bolt up the body kit and fill in the seams and everything. Scuff, buff, and paint it. 4 weeks. They had it for 4 weeks. Glass was all out.
Wow.
Now you guys had it in the paint shop in just a couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, it went quick, but I kept looking at this front bumper, and you know how I am, Craig. That one particular shot, a magazine shot, that had this lip reveal that matched this extraction vent. And I wanted to put that back in there, and you know, there were other cars that I've seen. In fact, the second unit production cars didn't have that. Did the studio buy a bunch of Bomex kits, or did they buy one and just make copies?
No, they bought a bunch of Bomex kits.
Okay.
The guy Mikado was very helpful. There was a lot of companies that turned us down. He was one of the guys who stood up and said, yes, I will support this movie, because it was about illegal straight racing. So he got us whatever he could get us.
Now, you know, we've got the Greddy intercooler in place. It's not hung perfectly. Again, you know, the reason why we've kind of pre-fitted everything isn't just for this video, but we want to try to do a pre-fitment before we start doing all of our final install parts. You know, we have the transmission we've pulled apart. We're going to actually send that out and have it bead blasted. The engine is pretty much ready to go. The intake or the exhaust manifold, we had powder coated in that white that Alex talked to you about.
How far out are we on that?
6 weeks.
6 weeks? I'm not getting any younger, guys.
Wow. You know, this is thanks to COVID. I don't know, or maybe it's just people being lazy.
No, it's certainly not that. It's just that people are not going to go out and stock up a bunch of parts when the world is not moving for 2 years.
Right.
So I totally understand that.
So the rack is in. We had the rack and pinion has been rebuilt, and it's all been cleaned up. We bead blasted the subframe assembly.
This is the way my car should have been done.
Right.
But it was a
yeah, because your engine bay was black.
It was black. I know people are going to talk about that. But if I kept it longer, the motor was going to come out anyway, and the thing would have been done properly anyway.
We are going to put the roll cage back in it, but it's going to be yellow. We left the rear door card inserts yellow. The front door panels are done by Stitch Crafters, and of course those are in the correct color. We pulled the airbag out to make the little fitment for the display board, and we're sorting all that out. And this is something I needed to ask you about. The roll cage, when it was bolted on, where was it bolted to? Do you remember, was it bolted above the shelf or below the shelf on the floor?
I think once you take that panel out, it'll be obvious, but I think it was
It's on top of the shelf, right? Okay, awesome. What do you think about the interior? I know last time you saw it was in the van, but now you see it in the car.
Now it's starting to seem more familiar to me right now, you know? So these are the seats that done by the same company.
That's just mind-blowing.
Stitchcraft, who did all the interiors, or most of the interiors for the movie cars in the first movie. But what I remember specifically is this little plastic cup here, right?
Yeah.
Which we had harnesses that came over the crossbar. And it was a Y harness kind of thing, a 3-inch belt Sparco. A lot of people are having their cars done, their movie car replicas done by him, they're actually sending their seats over here, or the fabric and all that. I mean, the covers, and then have them build that stuff. So.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
That's cool. We were fortunate in finding a dashboard that wasn't all cracked up. However, it is shrinking a little bit around this defroster vent. And so, as you could see, it's a little loose in the middle, but I don't want to break this. So what we're going to do is we've already removed the passenger side airbag assembly, and we're going to see if we could remove the clip, pull this out. And as you can see where it's shrinking, we're going to do a repair here. I know that your car was a rear seat delete, and we're going to obviously, you know, pull the seat out. I'm not sure why he put those in, and we'll of course remove the seat belts as well. But like I said, our plan is to get this over to B-Side Fabrication so they could start preparing for the roll cage. I got to be honest, I have yet to find a really good picture showing that actual.
I have a friend in the Netherlands right now. He's taking pictures for the interior for me again.
Fantastic.
So we will I told him to specifically focus on the down tube and the cage assembly and that kind of stuff. So assuming he comes through, and I have no reason to think that he won't, that should provide an additional amount of detail.
That'll be very helpful. And then what about neon lighting and LED lighting? What are your thoughts?
Well, we used neon lights back then, but they were plentiful. There were multiple companies doing it. Right. The biggest one was Street Glow at the time. They stopped making it for a while, but they resuscitated that program about 1.5 years ago because of all the replica builders. They're not cheap, but it is the real stuff. But you can for sure tell the difference between neon lights and LED lights, even with the dimmers. So purists will say, hey, you're not using the right stuff if you're using LED, but let's be honest. If I was doing that car today, it would be LED. So,
got it. Okay.
And I will really, really wonder how many people will be able to tell the difference.
You know, how many shots in the movie showed your interior with the lighting on? Exactly, 0.
Nothing.
So, you know, when we took on this project, when we talked about doing this, the thing I said to you is, I said, are we going to let's make the movie car. Let's not make your car, you know, after the movie, because your car had different graphic coloring on the bottom. It had black headlights, different, you know, the charcoal gray taillights. And so, you know, in building the car that was actually seeing the movie, you know, I'm all in. We've already got the NOS equipment. We've already got all the gauges and the amps. We're going to do it right. We still have end plates to deal with. We're going to get these sorted out. For now, we just wanted a place fitter, and when we succeeded there, we're going to clean these. We're going to clean this up and make it beautiful again. But
yeah, so you have all the measurements and all the hardware and all the markings here to do it.
Right. We have all that.
Get that
ready
squared away. I mean, once we're done doing the interior and the engine and all the running gear and suspension and brakes and all that, then we're down to graphics and then stereo.
Yeah, so Craig, the hard stuff is really kind of out of the way. When we took this on, I had no idea that I was going to be as picky as I was. And
you didn't?
Don't you think it's worth it? I mean, because I think this end result.
Honestly, like I've said this to multiple people, your team is building this car the way I would have done it if I had it longer.
Okay, well there you go.
Okay, but you got to remember, things were very, very different 20 years ago.
Oh, I know.
You know, people
remember.
putting neon on car, that was only for the car show stuff.
Yeah.
If I was building this car today, it would have none of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'd have a flat panel in the back, like my second Supra, a couple of woofers and a couple of, done.
Yeah.
Done.
Taillights are installed. We've got our LED, you know, clear lens light here for the third brake light. We could literally install the engine transmission as we wait for that exhaust or the turbo manifold to show up. We could fit that once it arrives, and we'll probably do that just to get the engine bay filled up with space, and we can start, you know, working on our intercooler piping, all of that blue textured finish that was in your car. We already have the chrome work done on the plastic cover, and then I think you just mentioned that the
fuse box
cover was chromed on yours, so we'll have to send that out to the same company and get that sorted
orange
out.
hoses and all that other nonsense that we were doing back then. When we're done with the car, and what are we going to do with it?
Yeah.
So take it to some car shows to share with the fans, because the real one's in the Netherlands, and most people will never see that car in person.
True.
So a lot of people are going to see it, maybe get their kids to sit in it, do some car shows and all that kind of stuff. And then after that, then what happens?
Well,
the end game.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We either sell it, we auction it, we raffle it. We have lots of options. But when it's all said and done, the point of building this was to share for our channels. I'm tipping my toe for Just Driven in the whole YouTube world.
Right.
We're a new channel. We have lots of content, as you know, all of our builds. I've been in this space for a long time, and I couldn't think of a better. You and I have been friends for forever, and I couldn't think of a better person to collaborate with. And so, being that you own the original, it just only made sense for you to have your hands in this one.
And it's fun to be around it again, because I haven't seen my car in 20 years, and I don't know if I'm going to see it anytime soon. So this will be the next best thing. And honestly, you're building it better than my car was. It's going to come out better. It's going to be more fun. It's going to have more horsepower.
I'm glad you said that, because we are just so focus driven on making this car perfect. You know?
Your team is just unbelievable.
Well, thank you.
Unbelievable.
They'll love hearing that. But you know, I tell them that all the time. And
I think your people on a break, they don't hear anything right now. You guys are good.
Just to talk briefly about the Charger, the Toretto Charger, the Hemi motor is ready in 2 weeks. We're going to run down and pick it up in our Racer's Edge truck, and we're going to finish that build. You know, we're hoping that's going to be out of paint in about a month. And those two cars together, I think we're just going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be a kick. Yeah, man, I just super stoked to hear you like what you see, and that's what was my biggest worry.
I'll tell you when I'll be really happy is when I take the Targa top off, pull out of your driveway, and I'm listening to Prodigy smack my up, okay? Then my life will be complete and I can die. That's it from Supra Central. These guys are killing it building the Supra. I can't wait to drive it, and if you really want to see the details, the nuts and bolts, how this car is coming together, you need to subscribe to the Just Driven channel. We do the summary right here, but if you want to see how it's actually being built, you need to follow Just Driven. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.